Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about organizations and why it's so hard to keep them organized. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, why are IT companies so bad at organizing the work? And the short answer is because everything is much harder in human society when you have more people. Let me explain. So the person asking this question was kind of referring to, in this scenario, bigger corporations and companies who have a little bit of a problem with management overhead. And you see, this is a fair question, why it is so hard to do all of these things. But it's actually that simple. The simple answer is that you have too many people. And it is one of the main reasons why large corporations slow down, because you simply have so many different stakeholders, as we call them, who's going to take part in every single decision that is going to be made. And to keep a team or an organization or a group of people fairly autonomous and to have them to be able to work at the highest speed that they can possibly manage, you need to allow them to make their own decisions, and you need to have I like to call it, there's a sweet spot, or well, there's too many, the old saying, too many chefs makes a bad soup or something like that. I don't exactly know, but that is exactly the problem. Like if you have tons and tons and tons of different stakeholders who all have an opinion on the work that's going to be done, and everybody needs to be synchronized and everybody needs to have the same picture of something, that takes a lot of time. A lot of time, and especially if they have some weird office politics type of situation where everybody has an opinion that can slow down the project, and you need to get everybody to agree on the same thing, because otherwise you can't actually progress. In other organizations that work much more efficiently, let's take, I think it's not much of a stretch to claim that historically the military, as an example, is the most efficiently functioning organization that in human society. And nothing we have in terms of teamwork and so forth that works as well as the military. It's not perfect, but here they have they play by different rules than like this, like the civilian society, because here you have a very strict chain of command where you can, well, in an extreme case, actually be punished for not just obeying what you're obeying when you're being told something. Now that works very well if you want people to just move in the same direction, and that is one of the key components in working in any group. You need to make sure that every single person who is contained within that group has the same sort of, at least the same picture of what's going to happen. Because if people have different ideas, and that's usually the way it works, it doesn't matter if you this is honestly one of the toughest things for young entrepreneurs or people who start their own company and they become a manager and like their company sees some success. And the first real big hump for a new manager is when they get to a point where they realize that, shit, I don't have enough time to do all of this. I am going to have to start trusting other people and delegate the work that I do to other people. Because when that happens, some people have a truly difficult time with trusting the other person, or understanding that nothing is ever going to be exactly the way, most likely, that you want it to be, without a very hefty investment for you from you to make sure that that happens. Just because you say something to someone, oh, you need to do A, B, and C, that doesn't mean that they're going to understand it and do it in exactly the way that you want them to do. That's where this is what a manager is that's what it's all about. You being able to communicate effectively to people and making sure that they have what they need in order to perform the task that you have given them, or what they're supposed to be doing. So in a military organization, you have different structures and discipline, and if I'm not going to go and say too much, a little bit of brainwashing going on for a fairly extended period of time, where you go through basic training to get people into a mindset or a mind space where you can control them and have them execute orders very effectively. You don't have that in the same way in civilian life, but and at the same time, this scenario, you don't just want people to blindly do what you tell them. You need to, at least in a more modern company, to have them still be engaged, to still have them and keep them loyal above all else. I mean, you can't shoot someone for desertion necessarily in a private corporate company. They're just going to go to another job if you treat them poorly. So you can't just keep them there. So these sorts of factors also play in when you want to organize a company. So with all of these things, you're in a position where you need to, number one, make sure that everybody has the same picture of something. Number two, they need to feel like they can be, you need them to be innovative. You need to have them in some regards be able to make their own decisions, because as I said, you don't have time. As the manager, you don't have time to check in on everybody. In a large corporation, like if you're talking about the really, really big companies, you're going to be, the organizational structure is so high that odds are that the person at the top, you think Zuckerberg knows his developers by name? Of course he fucking doesn't. Nobody does. That's how it works in every single large organization. It gets so big that there's no way for you to keep track of everything. And lastly, you have this issue where everybody might have a different agenda, and that is like this is the loyalty I'm talking about. Getting people to stay loyal to the company and to do their best and to be engaged is a task, because in the open market, especially when you're dealing with programmers, you can't guarantee that they care about the company. It's almost impossible. At a small scale, you can perhaps do it, and you can in certain area. You can put in efforts to make sure that the recruitment tries to hire people who care, and etc., etc. But it's really, really tough. And all of these factors play into why it's so hard to organize like a large corporation or a large company. You simply have so many moving pieces, and you need to align them all. And even if you wanted to, you as the person or the manager who has the vision, you can't go into every team and just guarantee that everybody's going to be on board. They might not smile and nod and say, oh yeah, that sounds feasible, but they have their own thoughts, their own will, they have their own motivation, and you need to figure out how to best leverage your position in such a way that you can actually make people feel this engagement. So what I want you to take away from this is that usually when you work in a larger IT company, it is very, very hard to feel that sensation of extremely well executed tasks, quality of code, and that planning is going well and that everything is kind of structured. Honestly, in many cases, it feels a little bit disorganized sometimes. And it simply is because it's so damn hard to move around within in a space where there are so many different stakeholders who have an opinion on the work that is being done. You have office politics, you have different people some people are in it for, the team, and they really care about the project, and those are usually the ones that you want to hire. But some people care about their career more, and like they're more about advancing their own ambitions and things of this nature. And all of these people need to play together. So it's a little bit like trying to get a zoo of farm animals to all play as an orchestra. It's fucking hard, but it can be done. Have a great day.